Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gisting with the Dims. I'm Nessa Baby, and this is...
And I'm OD. Dr.
Yes.
Dim. Some people call me Dr. Dim, some people call me OD.
Anyway, did we do like an introduction of like what the show is about?
No, we did not. So, but I just kind of like had a side discussion. My bad. Can go ahead.
Okay. So, so this show we're just talking about. It was called Gisting because like it was me and my party, my hubby, my heart, my dearest. We like to just talk about different random things. You know, we just randomly go into things and just keep on going. So we decided to just
talk about different topics.
Yeah.
Cross-cutting topics. Could be entertainment, it could be politics, it could be social life, it could be economics. Yeah, very cross-cutting topics that we could address. But today's topic is going to be what? What's the topic?
So today we want to talk about like men and women, how they face rejection, specifically men. Like,
why specifically men? Are we the only one that get rejected?
No, women get rejected too, but I want to hear from a men's perspective, from your perspective as a man. And I can speak about women too, and I'm sure you already know, but maybe for others, people that are listening to know. But we'll talk about, men, how they feel like when it comes to rejection, when they get rejected by someone they like, how it affects their ego. Is it true that men usually like to approach women that are like more ditzy, and then approach women that are intelligent and go-getters, independent, and all that, and why, possibly more finer or attractive looking guys don't approach other attractive looking women, and a less attractive man is more confident to go and approach a very attractive and intelligent woman.
I say sometimes I kind of like the fact that people come up with these topics, but I do think, although it's a funny subject, just because if you look at it in context, you see it should not even be really much of a question. It should just be kind of inferred, right? I feel someone who has less always has something to prove. I have the impression that, someone who does not have or lacks or does not come from a place of affluence always has something to prove. And this is true regardless. It's true about black culture, it's true about a lot of things. But more so, to be specific and stay to the topic, it's very true of men who are not handsome.
Yeah.
Right? Or good looking. Because you know that by default, as a non-handsome man, you better have money. Or you better have in fact, you have to have a couple of things to make up.
Make up for that.
Yeah, because a woman will still take an averagely wealthy man with good looks than take you as an ugly man with average income.
That's true.
So you need to up your game.
First of all, we're just talking based on like just because physical. Because when you're somewhere and you see someone, in an environment, you're just looking at looks first before.
Okay. So from looks alone, right? I mean, if I'm a good-looking guy, I don't even expect that. As a good-looking guy, I'm expecting more for myself, right? If you're a good-looking guy, you want more for yourself. So even though you have women that are probably at your beck and call all the time, you don't want those ones. You want still better. So you have a higher standard for yourself. Now, there's other factors that do come to play, which, since you said we shouldn't bring in any other subjects. Like, for example, you see a handy guy, So a guy that does stuff, is he handy? Does he have, so but we don't talk about those extra points.
Yeah, first just
so just looks.
The physical, when you first just see somebody.
Course. I think I shouldn't feel like I have to approach a woman when I'm that guy. I feel like I should be able to talk with you or interact with you, but maybe not even from a point of view of trying to have anything to do with you. That is how I feel as a good-looking guy. I'm not seeing anything super special in you because I'm also good-looking. So that's really like, it's a cancel point. Both of us check that mark. So maybe let's talk and let me see whether there's more about you. Right? But an ugly guy, he knows he's never going to have a chance.
Yeah. So that's why I think they're more confident.
So he'll be so extra. He's like a short person. I'm sorry to say. It's a thing about it's the truth, even though it's a poor stereotype, but
so someone says short people are ugly.
Short people always have to make a point. I mean, look at these shows now, these dating shows.
That's true.
You will hardly come in here and a guy is talking about I don't like short girls.
It's because of what society makes it seem like, okay, tall is good.
It's just like complexion too. It's like complexion, right? And some of these factors are actually the attributes of someone that looks good.
Yeah, and everyone has their preference too.
Yeah. So, on the average, a woman who is lighter skinned is thought to be pretty. This is probably not just Africans. This also propagates to even the Western culture.
Oh yeah.
Right? So there are attributes that make people call someone good looking. If you are tall, you are good looking. If you are a dwarf, midget, not good. Human beings are always going to be human beings. We have to be diverse in the way we kind of feel, or the way we feel like we need to be comfortable in certain environments, right? So my point is just to say, those attributes are what make people say someone is good looking. You have a type of shape of nose. See the guy that did the nose redo. What's his name? Some content creator that decided to go to Turkey to go redo his face to get a new nose shape and all that. Because these are the attributes of good looks. If you have a broad big nose, you're not handsome, or you're not good looking, you're not pretty. If you have a nice pointy nose, short pointy nose, you're looking at this one, beautiful and handsome. So this is kind of like how perception that we've kind of like is preferred, and it's probably not coming from an empty place. It's coming from some real meaning, because I know we do see these people that have these attributes, and we see them and are like, wow, they look good, even though we don't even know what those specific attributes are. They just come out looking nice because of those things. So,
but let's go deeper more into like, okay, after the physical, then get into talk to the person, and you notice, the person actually has a brain, can keep a conversation, stuff like that. So some guys, they'll feel like, intimidated maybe, or it could just be like, maybe they can keep up with the girl in terms of conversation, of what they're talking about, the intellect. So they rather go for a girl that's just pretty but doesn't really know much to really talk about, that can pull a conversation. They go for the ditzy, like how all these like the ditzy blondes, the trophy type girl. Yeah. Why do you think some guys like do that?
So why some guys?
Yeah, that they see a pretty, intelligent, strong, independent type of woman, and then they pull back and be like, no, I'm not interested.
So that's also kind of, there's a lot of factors that play into this, right? So sometimes if this is really a very accurate hypothesis, right? And I'm just going to go with the fact that I'm going to give you some reason why I feel that might be the case. First of all, we as men, we don't even appreciate women for your accomplishments in your workplace. whether it's an industry or it's academia, we don't associate our love for you with any of that, right?
Yeah.
But I feel women who fit this shoe of working class women, high profile working class women, as I would probably refer to them as, these women tend to want men to appreciate them for their achievements. They expect
I don't think maybe really for their achievement, just like to admire that. Okay, I actually can keep a conversation about different topics. You know, like.
I agree. You can keep a conversation.
And not just talk about like, girl stuff, basically.
But that has nothing. That doesn't even play into the factor of being, because that's a personal trait. That has nothing to do with whether you are a career woman and a top flight career woman, right? At that, it has nothing to do with that. It just happens that women. The thing is, women who are in this category, there is a way they carry themselves which is not appealing to men.
So how
there's a tendency of a character.
How will you say that they carry themselves?
So there's an arrogancy to how they come off arrogant at a point with how they position themselves, because they are trying to make sure that you kind of get that impression that they are, high profile working class women and just not regular women like So for example, if you are a woman who falls in that category, but you feel like, say for example, you're making breakfast, or you wake up in the morning, you're supposed to just say, okay, make breakfast for your children. Not even making breakfast for the guy, just make breakfast for your children. And you feel like, for some reason, because that's where your career has put you, and you feel like you can now tell him, like, both of you are all going out and both of you are all working class people. Now, don't get me wrong, the guy can do it for the children and even for you too as well, but that's not really his role. That's not the guy's role to be doing that. So you won't probably want to switch that and make it his role and say, okay, now he should be the one, even though both of you are working in, and this is a level playing field, you're all working, you're both making the same amount of money, and probably he's even contributing more, but let's just say we are both contributing the same. But the truth is that your role as to do what you did to do for your children is still going to have to be there. Just the same way that even though you are earning at the level you think you are, you should still recognize the role of a man, and the man should also know his role. It's not just the woman who should recognize that role. The man should also be aware of the role he should be playing.
Okay, but we're just talking about, like, you meet each other in a setting, and they're talking about, for example, maybe global warming or something, and having a conversation about that. Like, so you said it's something about, like, okay, the woman will come off as if she's arrogant.
That's the thing. Usually that's the case. That's the usual common trait on the average. It's not all of them, but most of them have that trait of being like, I'm not the average woman. They give off that aura of like, I'm not the average woman, and you should accord me that respect of not being the average woman. And men don't necessarily want to.
Yeah, I understand that, but isn't that also attractive? The fact that the woman can actually have a conversation with you about things that are not just like about makeup or
so you're getting it wrong. Because you are a high profile working class woman doesn't make it that you are also equipped to have a good discussion. I mean, women that probably go do hair, that's their job every day. That's just all they do. They do hair, or they are working in some.
Why you keep bringing about high class and working women? It's not about being high class working women. You're just having a conversation.
So no. So, but you said the way you phrased your question was like, men are not likely. They tend not to want to approach a woman who is like.
Yeah, and a well-educated woman, yeah, basically.
So that's what I'm saying. Well, okay, so you're just saying the well-educated woman.
Yeah, well-educated woman.
Oh, so that's not like really like an established woman. It's not the same.
No, not the same thing. Yeah.
So this is different.
It's
Okay, so I was thinking you meant established woman. If it's just, I mean, let's be honest, right? Sometimes, if you also, there's another way to kind of skin the cow or the cat or whatever it is. But there's another way to kind of look at this. If sometimes like a man is not trying to have long, complicated discussions, right?
That's true.
Like that's the only time. Actually, I met a girl one day when I told you I went with. Not that I met a girl, that didn't come out right. I saw. So this is about the friend of mine, yeah, and basically a discussion. We're having a discussion, and this specific girl already has a guy, by the way. So it's kind of like, probably helps to clear out. She has a guy. So the guy said, from what I understand, the guy is from a wealthy family, white, blah blah blah. She's not. She's like, I think, some Caribbean or African, I don't know. But aside from every other thing that happened, the important part is, while we were having the discussion that we were having, I didn't feel like I met her with the impression, or I kind of started speaking to her with the impression that she was going to be very intellectual or even vast by any chance. That's kind of felt one of those regular, like, girls that just knew nothing about nothing and just like. But when she started speaking, she came off very differently. She actually came off like someone who was like from a well-to-do, but her lifestyle wasn't reflected. But the moment she opened her mouth and she started speaking, yeah, but I mean, let's just be fair. If you want to be a real human being, everybody judges the moment you see somebody.
Cover, yeah.
Right? You judge people by the way their face looks at you. They judge people by the way they sweet their eye blinks. You judge people by the color of their skin. You judge people by, how cold the temperature of their hands are. Like, when you shake them. Like, let's just accept that reality that we are always going to judge people. But the next step after that is, how do you use that judgment in the way you interact with people?
Yeah.
Right? Because that judgment, that so-called judgment, is just an impression. It only becomes a lasting impression when the actual character matches the perception that you have.
I agree. That's true.
Right? For me, as long as I can have whatever judgment or so-called judgment or impression about somebody, but the reality is, like, once the person starts acting, it changes. I met a colleague at work. First time I met a colleague, in my mind, I felt like just because I wasn't necessarily from the same culture as him, I felt like maybe we might not work together well. But I mean, we've been on for like how many years now? Half a decade. So it's pretty much been working fine enough. Might not work well tomorrow, but at least it's worked this long. I never even expected that. If I was thinking about it from the point of view of like, oh, the person is not my culture or something of that nature. So we all have judgments. He on his own side had a judgment, I had a judgment. It's just that down the line, we've been able to figure out a way to stay above water. Okay. That's what matters. Or like the people that actually have there's some special character of human beings that act the type of way just because they feel like there's a stereotype associated with your person. So they just immediately start to act against, to try to work with you. Like that stereotype is already reflecting from you just because you seem like who they need to apply it to. Those are the dumb ones. And you don't have anything to do with those ones in the first instance. Well, anyway, at that point, I think we probably covered the proper ground for today's topic. But then I was also going to say, do you have anything you wanted to say in that context? Because I feel like, women are not completely left out of the subject too, in a way.
Yeah, also like for us women, like, do we get rejected?
Yeah.
Of course we get rejected. Like, I feel like, I mean, from my past experiences, yeah, being rejected, it's annoying because it's like, especially when you make it clear, because I know you men say that, as women, we don't make it clear, we don't show the signs, that's what, interested in you, so that's why we're not gonna know and we're not gonna approach you. But when we do make it clear, seriously clear, like let's say for example, in the past I've like gone to a setting where networking setting and had music, and I'm like with other people chatting, coming closer to the person, trying to strike a conversation, or like maybe just nudge a little bit close to the person, while conversating, try to laugh at your jokes, try to even dance when the music is on together. I try to make it really, really clear that I'm trying to feeling you a little bit, interested, but God still not doesn't make a move. Just keeps it on the platonic type of interaction. Then I'm not gonna lie, that hurts as a woman. I feel like it really hurts.
I mean, like, I think
when you get rejected, like, damn.
I do think that actually I'm sort of also guilty.
You see them go talk to somebody else. I'm like, alrighty.
Yeah,
you don't want to even try to. As a woman, I feel like it makes us don't want to even try to even approach a guy again like that, because most of the time, us the guys are the chasers. You guys are the hunters. It's us women that we're not supposed to be like that. I mean, that's how it is now. Like in the olden days, that's how it's set, how God created, if you don't use religion context. Back to even like animals. The males are the ones that hunt. So I was you don't agree?
Yeah, I agree.
So we come out of our comfort zone for us not to approach it, and we get rejected. Oh no, that like really hurts. That shatters our ego, our confidence, us women.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. I just know that women on the average don't get rejected,
and we get approached by ones that we're not even interested in. That's even more like frustrating.
I mean, on average, right? Women have more men hit on them on average.
Of course.
So of course, like the reality is like you're not experiencing the level of rejection that the average guy is experiencing. That's just my point.
That's true.
The average guy is like literally like. I mean, if you go and see those guys that you say are hot guys, right? Those guys who are so-called hot, they probably don't have more than like 3 or 4 girls in their DM. That they are so-called hot guys. The reason is because you women are still arrogant in your own way. You still want that hot guy to still text you.
No, that's not really true. It depends. If the hot guy is in his own profile, if he has doing all this gym press ups and all of that, like those type of videos and pictures, he's gonna have his DM flooding girls.
So my point
trying
is
to talk to him or liking or winking or
they will be giving him signs, but girls are not going to be obviously just jumping in your DM to just talk to you.
Oh yeah, of course.
Girls are not jumping. See, guys, we can enter a girl's DM like as if it's our backyard that we just open the door to go do barbecue on that grill. Like we are standing on that door to the DM like as if we even are the ones that are giving tickets for people to get in. That's how guys are. Like we hang around there, we don't give no shit. Girls have like they have a shame for doing stuff like that. We do not have any shame because that's our nature. Like we are hunters, we are supposed to go out there and go find it. So we in that DM more than you think. So if you have 2 guys, a guy and a girl, both of them very pretty in their own rights, exactly the same level of prettiness. Just one is a girl, the other one is a guy, and use all the metrics and make sure that you have equal playing fields on both. The guy will consistently have less girls in his DM compared to that guy.
That's true. I agree with that.
Consistently, you will make it consistent. It will never feel once, even if it will come close that it's just one more that the girl will have. The girl will always have more people or more men in her DM. It's just how it goes. And in fact, I can take it further and tell you, even ugly girls, if you see an ugly guy, nobody will ever hit him. Even ugly girl will not even want him. But if you see an ugly girl, one guy on the day that Konji call him, and he look, and he just needs something to wet his meat. He will go in that ugly girl's DM and message her, hey boo.
Hey beautiful.
Hey beautiful. I'm telling you, so that's how it goes. So my point is just to say that women on the average get more play. So I think with that we should
true.
Yeah, we should practically
yeah, I would love to go deeper. Well, another episode more about like can males and females just be friends?
So I guess we've come to the end of today's episode.
Yeah, so we've come to the end of this episode. You know, conclusion about men and women dealing with rejection, right? So men and women do deal with rejection, they deal with it differently, and it all depends on, you know, the context, the situation as well. No, women get more advances than.
We talked about that a little bit. Also talked about men being not being interested in having approaching women that are so-called like advanced educationally or
men are now most likely some men don't, they rather not approach women that very like intellectual,
career driven or whatever. I don't know. Intellectual, okay, I guess it's intellectual. That's too different too. But yeah, well, thank you for listening. I think we did cover sort of few important topics, and
we want to continue. This is the February, the month of love, so we want to keep talking about relationship things this month. Hopefully should be spicy, interesting topics.
I don't have plans to be talking about relationships.
So we're talking about men and women, how they think about different things when it comes towards relationships.
Yeah, America is under siege. America is under fire. Things are difficult. We can't be talking about love when there's hunger.
Well, this is the month of love, so that's what I'm talking about. Hence, even relationships that we're talking about. But thank you everyone for tuning in to our podcast. Just in with the gyms. Until next time, you can catch us on our socials, on Instagram.
Yes.
On YouTube.
No, YouTube is actually YouTube is also one of the platforms, but I think if you're really listening to this, you probably found it on Spotify. So
we're on Spotify, and we're gonna be on other platforms soon.
Correct.
Soon. Yeah, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Come listen to us. We're dropping new episodes every weekly. Once episode weekly. So yeah, any questions you have, any topics you want to hear about, just drop a comment below. Thank you.
Peace.
Bye. Till next time.